Shalom, friends. Welcome to Cogitations. And today I would want to just go through some questions, all right? Some questions that some of you have been asking. And before I get into some of the other things that I want to share, I think it's kind of important to go through it. Persons have been asking, questions. What religion? What's my religion? Have you left Christianity? Do you believe the Bible? Right? And it one way of looking at things today is we've all come to where we are, right, by as human beings being social creatures, by the influence of others, right? Now, a lot of the things that we now hold to be true, we have not tested them ourselves, right? I discovered that, as I said, we were holding on to a lot of things that we deemed to be true, which in fact were lies. Now, a lot of these lies were passed to us by persons who we trust, by persons who love us, by persons who are well-intentioned and were hoping to give us, to protect us, right, and to give us, wisdom and understanding by the things that they knew, right? Unfortunately, the things that they knew were lies, and it is hard sometimes to face that because, again, it's challenging people who played significant roles in your life, in your development process, right? Like our parents, like our teachers, like if you grew up in church like myself, like pastors and so on, who you would have had a lot of respect for, right? And people who would have done their best to help you. Right now, coming into maturity, and by the biblical standard, we are required to test all things. So, as a young, child coming up, you rely on those who are entrusted with your care. Right? And I said primarily that would be parents or guardians, right? And again, very early on, they would have passed us on to, again, in my case, would be the church, because you went to church before you actually begin to go to school, right? If you're not grown up in any sort of organized religion, that formal teaching, it would be your parents passing you on to the school system. And again, they're doing that for your benefit, at least in their minds. And to now begin to test them is to, sometimes be willing to challenge some of the things that you were told by people who meant well. Now, I grew up in the London Baptist denomination, and there was, at conferences, or there are certain pastors and so on who would normally say that, if someone found a Bible in the wilderness and read it, that they would become a Baptist. Right? Again, they believed that they were solid Bible believers. Now, again, beginning to do my studying and reading for myself, a question could come up: which part of the Bible, or what Bible, or did they even read? The Bible, which they say that they follow so closely, right? And obviously, of course, that I discovered to be false. Now, I mentioned the scriptures and the Bible because, back to the question, yes, I do believe the Bible, right? In terms of religion, the Bible does not teach any of the religions, organized religion, that you have today, right? I call them institutional religions. Now it's easy to see because the institution, and I'll use in this case Baptist, right? The Baptist denomination was founded. There's a founding date for it. We know, who founded it, right? And that in itself, while again, even that person may have had genuine experiences, they obviously would, for some persons, meant well. They were trying to lead people to truth. Now, again, without knowing them personally. But then, when our responsibility as believers is to vet and to test all things, right? So now, again, just for this introduction and to begin to go into some of the things that I wanted to share, is where I would start. And the first thing is by removing labels, right? That is what religion does. It puts a label on something, and then the label, when people find that they don't fit the label, they would move to something else, right? Some people move to other religions. Some people discard religion altogether. Some people would move to another denomination or another church, and that in itself shows that the labels are not sufficient, because the labels don't match what the scripture says, right? And the labels oftentimes does not really reflect what we hope to be. Right? So more important than the label as to what religion I am and what I call myself, I like to focus on what do I believe. And that is a discussion that we're going to get into, and we're going to be able to match what I believe, what you believe, with what the scripture actually says. So then we have a baseline with which we can say, okay, this is what the scripture says. Is this what we believe or not? All right. So I'm going to keep these fairly short and digestible. All right. I don't promote people spending a lot of time on social media. We should be all getting to, what we have to get into, and that the things that I would share is not for you to believe blindly. It's not for you to, pick up and run with. It's for you to investigate, to look at, and to determine the truth of what I see, just like you should do for everything. All right, so as I say, continue to take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, there's no need to like, follow, share, subscribe, none of that stuff. But you do need to think. Be blessed.